All right, everybody. This is about my fourth attempt making a video here on how to. I'm actually going to make a storyboard for my weight project, but I keep getting little glitches, so wish me luck. So I've got my Y data here. My Y is my weight. Okay, so I'm going to do a project on my weight. So I'm going to go to Data, Data Analysis. Let's try that again. Something weird is going on. All right. Aha. So data analysis. I've got descriptive statistics. I've highlighted my data. I'm going to hit OK. I had already set up the formulas like we talked about. Just real quickly. See that again, I told it to give me the descriptive stats. I made sure I got a new worksheet. I named it. I got my summary statistics. So I've got my baseline. My mean is 236. My median is 237. So I'm guessing the data is normal. The mean and median are very close. But let's check. I'm going to copy the data. And then I'm going to go to my normality test. Plug in the data. P-value is greater than 0.05, so the data is normal. Remember, if the p-value is less than 0.05, your data is not normal. P-value greater than 0.05, it is. And again, at a green belt level, that just simply tells me that I can go ahead and write my problem statement as my current average weight is 236. If it wasn't normal, then I would have written my current median weight is 237. All right, so now the goal, you have to ask yourself, do you want to increase your weight or decrease it? When I joined the Army, I actually joined to increase it, but that was successful, so now I want to decrease it. So the point is either the minimum is going to be my entitlement, the best weight I've had, or my maximum is going to be my entitlement. And for me, the best is low. So low is good. I want to lose weight. So 223 is my entitlement. Now I'm just making notes here. I don't need this for the storyboard. So now what's my goal going to be? Well, I have something called the 70% rule. So I'm going to show you how that works. I'm going to bring over, if high is good, so that's not good, so I'm going to do it here. If low is good, I'm going to bring over my average, which was 236. Okay, and then I'm going to get my entitlement, which was 223. And what I teach is you can get about 70% of the difference using DMAIC. So I need to know what is the difference between these two, just in absolute value. So I'm going to type equals this minus this. All right, so I have, if I were going to do 100% improvement, I would lose 13 pounds. Okay, but I don't think it's fair to tell a belt to try to go from baseline to perfection. Remember, in manufacturing, this would be the most widgets ever made, and it's probably a one-time event. So I've come up with something called the 70% rule, and I'll talk more about it in class, but I believe you could, using DMAIC, it's fair to shoot for 70% of that. So I'm going to equal this times 0.7. So we are going to try to take 9 pounds. That's going to be our goal. So 236 minus 9 is going to be our goal. So equals the baseline minus entitlement. So my goal is to reduce my weight to, and what did it work out to? 226.9, which actually is great. I'd like to be 225, so that actually works out very well. All right, and again, that's my rule. Lee's 70% rule is a rule I came up with. It's actually a facilitation technique to keep people from arguing. Let's just try one more. Let's say that high was good. So let's say that the average sales, or let's say the number of, let's do the one I did earlier. The number of lancets per hour was 2 million, and the most they ever made was 2.37 million in an hour. So again, this is one where high is good. So now equals this minus this, because I'm just getting the gap. All right, so there's a point, 370,000 part gap, and we're going to get 70% of that, so equals this shift times 0.7. All right, and there you go. We're going to increase by 250,000, so now I'm going to add it, equals this plus this. So our goal is going to be to get from 2 million lancets per hour to 2,259,000. Again, I just did that in decimal places. I could have written it out. Now what I'll do is I'll save this and send it to you so you can just in the future, plug in the numbers. Let's say we made 1 million. I'll see if this works. And yeah, everything would auto populate. So 2 million. Okay, so I've got my problem. I've got my goal. I've done the first part of the measure phase. I've got my descriptive statistics. I'm going to go ahead and finish the measure phase before I make my storyboard. So now I need to do sigma. So I'm going to, let's see here, go to my sigma calculator. I have to use method 2 for continuous data. My average is 236. Let's see, my standard deviation was 6.16. I'm just going to round, so 6.16. 6.16. Now clearly I have no lower spec limit for weight. Like, I mean, you could say, oh, I don't want to go below. Well, it's interesting. Maybe I do have a lower spec. Like, I did join the Army to get big, so maybe if I get below 215, I don't feel like I'm a man anymore. But really, I don't want to be above 240 pounds. That's really the thing I care about. So I am 2.15 sigma. 74% of the time, I stay in the good range. What it did was it drew a line at 215 and it drew a line at 240. And you can see visually I'm most often overweight. All right, let's see here. So now I need to ask the question, is this data in time order? If it's a random sample of 15 data points, the answer is no, but this happens to be the average of my weight for the last 15 months, I'm going to say. So we're going to copy that data because it is in time order, and we're going to go run the control chart. Okay, I'm going to plug my data in, go back up here and see. And I have special cause variation. Remember, my thing will change color if you have special cause variation. So basically it looks like I had a great couple months there where I weighed exactly in the range I wanted to be, but now it looks like I've sort of leveled off. What is purple? Purple is saying I have 4 out of 5 points outside the 1 sigma limit. So basically there should have been more movement in this data, but it looks like I've leveled off around 235. It actually looks like maybe I don't need to do this project because it's beginning to come down. So, that happens to me sometimes. I'll be working on something and the client doesn't know that someone in their staff has already started the project. The last 2 data points I've been down around 233 and 234. All right, so I can go ahead and begin to make my slides. I just have one more thing to run, and this is personal preference. Do you want that histogram? So let's see, my weight runs from 223 to 245, so I have to make those bends. So I'll say 220, 230, 240, and 250. Whoops, messed up there, 250. And I'm going to go ahead and make my histogram. So I'm going to go to data, data analysis, histogram, and I'm going to input my data, and I just set up my bins right here. I'm going to name it histogram, And I don't want a Pareto, I want to get a chart. All right, yeah, I mean, it's not a lot of movement, but that I can see why we got normal data. That looks like a bell-shaped curve. Since I've already got that highlighted, I'm going to copy it over, and I'm going to start making the measure phase slides first, because remember, that's how it works. You do measure first. Whoops. All right, and then I need the descriptive statistics for this slide. So let me get my descriptive stats, and you know what? I'm going to get my snipping tool out. I use that a lot when I'm doing projects. So let me get this right here. I could even capture that if I wanted to. I learned something cool the other day. You actually don't have to hit copy because it's already set up to paste. So I'll move that here. I'll grab the histogram and move it over. And I've got my baseline data. In fact, I need to insert the little text box and tell people. Remember I said tell me why you're showing me that. So this is my baseline data. All right, next slide was the sigma calculator. So let me go grab that. Turn my snipping tool back on. And I typically grab this part right here. All right, so then go to PowerPoint. I'm going to insert that. I don't want your design ideas, thank you. And then what I typically do is I insert what it told me. I just type it in. Only 74% of the time do I fall between 215 and 240. All right. Next slide is my control chart. Go ahead and grab that. Put that in here. And the takeaway box is that I have special cause variation in my weight data. Looks like I'm already shifting down. However, based on the goal, there is still room for improvement. Basically, I'm saying that I'm going to continue on doing this project even though it looks like something's being done. So now I can start making my Lee wants to be 225. You know, that's my cover slide. Business case is where you get to elaborate. It is important that Lee lose weight. Right? What do we know? Weight is a leading indicator of heart health. As he gets older, if he is heavier, it will, I'm just brainstorming here, weigh on his knees, causing him to not be able to walk to the early bird specials. And of course, the most important thing with the business case is sell me on this financially. He will need a hover round at an annual cost of, you know, $24 or $2,500. It's just something. I'm just freewheeling this here, but this is where you talk about the importance of your project to the business and try to get them to pay attention. So I'm going to cover the title is. So we've got cover slide, business case, and now what do I need to insert? Problem and goal statement. I already got that written. Let me get on it. Get my snipping tool here. All right. And I mean, when you write the problem and goal, it needs to be very straightforward, just like that. There should be no elaboration. One of the biggest problems I have with students is they'll mix the Y's up. They'll say Lee's current weight is 237, reduced by 20%. Well, I don't even know what you're doing anymore. What's the Y and what's the X? Or they'll say, you know, we make 3,000 pallets an hour, increase to 6,000 bags per minute. Well, now you've completely confused me as to what's going on. So I just did a basic storyboard there. I've got my cover slide, problem and goals, business case, which is sell me on the importance of the project, problem and goal statement. I've got my baseline data. It proves to me there's a problem, and basically we'll stop here. We are on to the analyze phase. All right, so with that, I will stop here, and we'll talk to you later.